Hey guys, welcome back to Vertical Momentum. I'm your host, Richard Kaufman, also known as the Comeback Coach. Guys, if you're like me and you are in business, the number one reason people go out of business because you run out of money at the end of your month. We're going to be talking about how to get funding for your business debt free. I love debt free. And Stormi is amazing at what she does. Now I got to read this because I want to make sure I get it right. She has been featured on Forbes, New York Times, LA Weekly, and she has helped people with over $18 million secured debt free. So guys, if you're looking to find out how to get money for your business, this episode is for you. First, I want to thank Sam Rivera. Thank you so much for hooking us up. I appreciate you and I love you. Stormi, what's going on?
Hey, Richard, how you feeling?
Come on, I get to hang out with you today. It doesn't get any better than this.
Yes, this is a good start to a morning.
So, first question is because looking back in your story, I've done probably about 15 or 20 hours of research on you. Your life hasn't always been sunshine, rainbows, Skittles. You've had to pivot a couple times. You've had some challenges. So what is your definition of resiliency?
Yeah, I've definitely had tons of moments of pivoting. And I think resiliency for me is the ability to adapt to change. And I think when you can find how to quickly adapt, then you can maneuver yourself in ways to continue to find success, no matter what those, opportunities that come and the challenges that you face are. That would definitely be what my definition is.
All right. So give us a quick down and dirty about who you are, where you come from, and how did you become the legend that you are today?
Yeah, so I am your regular everyday girl, right? I am from Brooklyn, New York, and being raised there taught a lot of like hard knock situations. My family, I have a big family, lots of siblings, and we kind of grew up in this very untraditional household with a mother who was in education and a father who was an entrepreneur. And so their core values have been instilled in all of my siblings, and it shows really profoundly in me with having a business that is geared towards educating entrepreneurs on how they can access debt-free funding. Started Pink Print in 2021 of March, and we've been rocking and rolling. And since then, it's just really made me really, create new skill sets of just leadership, of determination, of more resiliency that I've had to embark on in this journey. So that's a quick down and dirty for you.
All right. So I'm right over the bridge. I'm right here in New Jersey.
Okay.
So first of all, today is September 11th, and
Yes.
I just want to September 11th changed my life, changed a lot of people's lives. So I just want to, give honor to the 343 firefighters that lost their lives today. But coming from Brooklyn, it can be hard neighborhood. It can be hard times. And people from New York City, Brooklyn, they don't pull punches. They're not the easiest people. You'll probably get the finger more than you would a wave. So what was it like growing up in Brooklyn?
It's pretty fast paced. I think that I was very mature early on. I can remember times where I was super independent. I think it breeds an independency in you as a young child to where there's certain things in my adulthood that I kind of feel like, oh, this is just common sense. But it's like, oh, everyone didn't grow up having to take the train to school or having to, go to the bodega and get themselves a sandwich like their mothers would cook, or they would be dropped off, or they just had a little bit more of a sheltered life. In New York, there is no shelter. I don't care how much your parents tell you to come in after the street lights. You are just exposed to seeing so many vast lifestyles and cultures that you are just so open to what's possible for you. And you, like I said, you become mature super fast.
Okay, so now you said your mom's an educator, your dad's an entrepreneur. Did you ever start like a lemonade stand when you were a kid? Did you ever start getting that entrepreneurial bug when you were smaller?
Oh, yes. I remember fondly. My mother talks about this story all the time. She gave me and my brothers $50 for the summer. And she was like, here's your money for the summer that you can spend on whatever, do what you want. Right. And I told her, take me to Home Depot. And I bought those little flowers in the cartons. And I bought
Yes. Yes.
a bag of dirt and some potters. And I was potting them and selling them to the neighbors in our area. And I hired my two brothers and I told them, because they had run out of money buying candy and whatever, else kids do. And so I hired them. I said, I'll pay you $1 for each person that you bring here that buys a $5 pot of, planters. And they got on their skateboards and rode around the neighborhood and found clients. And we sold out that first day. And my mom was like, that's when I knew you were either going to be a leader of a biker gang or the leader of a Fortune 500 company.
So did you go to college, and what was your career track?
Yeah, so initially I went to cosmetology school. I got the trade to be a hairstylist. And that was kind of my first, taste of entrepreneurship. I opted out of college because I didn't really like the traditional learning style when I was in high school and elementary. Sitting there all day, I was kind of like fidgety. So I'm like, I need to have some movement in my learning style. And that hands-on approach in cosmetology really attracted me. So I started that, finished that, and became a hairstylist in New York after several years. And that's kind of where I got started at.
Okay, so let's talk about the hard stuff, because I'm a ninth grade dropout. Um, I don't even have a high school diploma. I've read over 6,000 books. I'm a two-time best-selling author. Now I've had guests like yourself, Robert Kiyosaki, Sharon Lecter, David Meltzer, John Lee Dumas on my show. But when I was going to first start, somebody says, you can't start a business. You're a ninth grade dropout. So what was it like? Because obviously I'm an old white dude. So what is it like saying, not only are you a person of color, but you're also a female.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, when you're growing up, friends are around you, they're like, oh, you can't do that. We're not supposed to own businesses. We're not supposed to, because I came from the street, so I'm not supposed to own a corporation. So what was it like when you started to getting into into entrepreneurship? Did you get some pullback?
Fortunately, I did not. I have had really amazing relationships with my family and people around me that they were always like, you can do anything you put your mind to. And it kind of started when I was working in the salon in New York and I became the top performer very fast. And I asked my boss at the time for a raise and commission. I wanted 50-50. We were at 60-40. And I got fired because of that. They told me to take a hiatus when I had a full book of clients for the next 2 weeks. And I said, if I take a hiatus, I'm out of here. And so with that is what propelled me to say, well, I can do this on my own then, right? And that's really what started it. And when I shared that information with my family, they were like, no, don't let anyone stifle what you're capable of. If you feel like you should get 50% by the way that you're producing and the way that you're working and the way that you're being a team member of everyone else, grow that on your own. And now it was hard, right? Going from a secure job with clients to now I've got to figure out how to run the whole business and wear all the hats within a matter of hours. I was completely frantic, but it ended up working out because every step that I took, it's like another door opened up to the right direction.
Okay, so let's talk about the mindset shift, because there's a difference between writing the check and cashing the check. Like there's been times in my business that I've looked and I've had $0 in my business. Obviously God takes care of me. The Lord has been great to me. So I'm always, I'm always going to come out on top. But so talk about that mindset shift between writing a check, cashing a check. Big difference, because everybody wants to be a business owner until you got to do business owner shit, right?
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, it was so crazy. And as I still reflect on that moment because I'm like, how did you do it? I really reflect on it all the time. I think already having that resilience made me have the determination that I wanted to do it, right? I knew I could and I wanted to really badly. And so that drove a lot of my decision making. I made every mistake, Richard. I didn't know how to pay people on payroll. I didn't know how to set up a scheduling book. I didn't know how to, do financials or market the business. I didn't know how to scale. All I knew is I had a few girlfriends who were also hairstylists. And I said, hey, y'all, I've got this full book of clients. Let's do their houses, their hair in their homes for comfort and make this a thing. And that kind of created what was Just Hair, which was my mobile hair company at that time in New York. And I mean, the mindset shift was just, I have become a leader who's so transparent, Richard. I delve into letting people know up front my strengths and weaknesses. Hey, this is what I come to the table with. This is what I don't know. And I'm asking them to help me grow, right? Help us as a team grow this business. And I've been able to grow really strong teams because of that transparency and vulnerability. And I lead with that. And I think I've been taught by so many amazing people throughout the journey, just being vulnerable, that, like I said, every step opened up another door in the right direction. And it really just enabled me to have the right mentors come about, have the right money opportunities, the right client opportunities throughout the process. So in terms of mindset, it was going from, making this money in the salon to, okay, I've got to be super vulnerable and honest about where we're at right now. And that's what I did.
Okay, so, and I want to talk because one of my mentors is Mr. Dan Sullivan, and he always talks about, and even my friend Gary Vaynerchuk, and I try not to curse on the show, but this is the only way I can get this across. Mm-hmm. Is Gary says, fuck what you're not good at, triple down on what you're good at, and hire everybody else that have their strengths as your weaknesses. And I think when people start businesses, they try to do it all. Like me, I know I'm great at interviewing. I'm great at building relationships. I suck at graphics. I suck at promotion and marketing. So I hire somebody that is great at that. That's their thing. So how important is it to not, because I always say if a lone wolf doesn't get fed or doesn't get protected. So in business, how important is it to build a team?
Yeah, it's been vital for growing the company and scaling, because I'm only one person. I can only do so much, right? But with more people, there's just more hours in the day that can be attacked. There's just more tasks that can get done, more clients that can be acquired. It has been super vital for my own self-development, professional development, and then the development of the company as well. I completely agree that you need to hire your weaknesses. And as a CEO, I still do believe that we should be adaptable within all the different departments of our business. So I want to know at least some jargon so that I can communicate with them and help build their skill sets in those areas. Even if I'm not an expert, I still spend time developing those skill sets in certain ways. But they're the experts at it. I'm trusting them and I'm letting them know I'm leaning on you here. This is where, my abilities are halted at. So I need you to come in, see the vision with me. And that's kind of the thing, is more so focusing on, here's the vision of where we're trying to go and what we're trying to serve. How can your skills align with that? And so it's really just been the biggest momentum creator in the business, is hiring the right talent.
Okay, so and I agree 100%. If it wasn't for my team, I wouldn't be where I am. So I'm very grateful. And my wife is my CEO, so she's the queen. So without her, I wouldn't have any of this. So thank you, honey. But let me ask you a question, because I've had over 1,350 interviews now, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs that have lost businesses, and it could be a couple things, but most of the time it's they're underfunded, or hey, let me start a business and let me use all my credit cards, and then if you have no money coming in, guess what? Your doors aren't going to stay open. So I love what you do, that you actually help get funding, but not putting business owners in a bind before you even get started. Because if you're behind the 8 ball it's so much harder to catch up if you're already in debt or if you have no money to start to begin with. So, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true, right? That we're super underfunded. There's so many barriers that are put in place to not allow a startup company or a new company at certain revenue points get access to capital. And so for me, I found this way through grants to say, hey, you actually didn't need a credit score. You don't need revenue all the time to be able to get started with winning these awards. And it's just so important to start debt free and with non-dilutive capital. So like just like you said, so you don't start behind the eight ball. Allows you to be able to pivot in a multitude of business things that happen. Like when COVID happened, a lot of companies went under because they had debt to pay back. And now they're in these situations where they can't keep the bills on because they're trying to make sure that, you know, whatever bank or financial system gets paid, and they're going under. And it's so important because you build your revenue and you keep your revenue when you don't have to pay anyone back, when there's no debt or strings attached to the funding, and you can still obtain it to grow and scale the company or hire or do marketing or whatever, you know, the goal is for the capital that you're seeking. Is just such an important part and piece of, you know, growing a company.
Okay, so let me ask you, because I have several friends that are CEOs, business owners, and they got the PPP loan.
Mhm.
They got to pay that back. They got to pay a lot of it back. And a lot of people were, oh, it's COVID. They're going to get the PPP loan. They're going to be fine. And a lot of people had to pay that back. So
Mhm.
now, not only were you slow or not getting any business for 3 years, now you got a loan you got to pay back. And if you owe the government, you're not getting away with that. You know what I mean? So I wanted to definitely talk about that, but also, coming from, like I said, I'm a ninth grade dropout. If I don't know something, I ask, because that's the only way I'm able to be successful. But what actually is a grant?
Yeah. So a grant is capital that is infused into a business from a private corporation, a foundation, a local department or government entity, right? So they're giving this capital to support whatever missions or objectives that they have. And they typically align with what most business owners are already doing, whether that's we have a marketing company and we want to, or we want to help an underserved community, or we want to make social change or diversity and inclusion. You know, the list goes on and on. And so this capital can be used in your business to help you promote workforce development, to help you promote, just working capital sometimes, or to serve the overarching mission that you have. And so more simply, it's debt-free funding that you can utilize for your business that you can get at any stage in your business, no matter how small or how big you are.
So it's because I've been taking a lot of classes on business. So I just, and by the way, I got to say, I watched the debate last night. And one thing I love that Kamala Harris said that, if she becomes president, that she will give she will give, I forget how much of the amount of money, I think it was like $60,000 for brand new entrepreneurs to start their businesses. And I think, entrepreneurs are the backbones of this company. So that's one thing I really love that she said that, we need to get this country back to work. And the best way to do that is have entrepreneurs starting businesses. But,
Mhm.
So I know that a lot of people say, oh, they talk about angel investors. And yeah, but an angel investor, if you don't have a business that's viable or scalable, they're not going to invest. And if they do invest, they're going to take a nice chunk of your business.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing from you talking about grants is they don't take a part of your business and you don't owe them anything. Correct? Or am
That's
I
correct.
wrong?
Yep, that's correct. Non-dilutive and debt-free.
So you got to tell me, you got to give me the background, how you got into this crazy world of grant writing.
Yeah, the craziest thing is it started during COVID when my salon could not work in New York. We were shut down for about 8 months. So
Yep.
we couldn't work, and I still had bills to pay, and so did others. And I started seeing online people who were entrepreneurs teaching and selling like ebooks about, hey, here's how to become an entrepreneur. In this time you need money. Here's how to do it. And I'm like, well, I've been this business owner now for 3 years and I have all this business experience. And at that time, we had gotten grants for that company. And so I'm like, if people need money, let me show them how to find the money. And it just started out with, going live on Instagram, hosting free Zoom classes for the masses, showing them how to use databases and growing the company. And then people started saying, well, Stormi, can you just do the work for us? And that's when I said, okay, I'll answer that calling. And so we created Pink Print, which is now a full service grant writing agency to answer the calling for the people who don't have the time or the education or the skill set to go for grants consistently to where they can see that success that you want to see. And that's really how it got started, is taking, like you said, the strengths that I do have. Your friend said, F what you don't got, right? And take what your strengths are, utilize those things. And that's kind of what we've done. And that's what this company is built off of.
Okay, but you said something. I lost 80% of my vision about 6 years ago. So my hearing's got a lot better. Not according to my wife, but my hearing's got better. And I can hang on when I interview a person, I hang on certain words. And something you said was when you first started, you taught. And just like my friend Gary, my friend Tony Robbins, they teach and then they promote. I watch every video you put out on TikTok, by the way. So I just want to let you know that. But I love the way that you teach. You're not trying to just get a sale. So how important is that, especially in today's world of social media, to teach what you do, and then if somebody wants to hire you, they can. But you don't come off as that pushy kind of person once you're teaching and not promoting. So how important is that in today's world of social media?
Yeah, I think there's so much information in the key for me being a certified grant writer. I want people to have the right information. There's so much fluff out here in the internet because everyone has a voice, which is amazing. But sometimes proper information gets, underneath the rug. And it's important for me for people to have the correct, proper information and steps and action plan to move forward. And so that's why I've been using just my certifications and my growth and my knowledge and expertise to really give back to the people that we serve. We host still to this day $5 seminars, for people to get in at any budget point, at any knowledge level, to learn, how does this grant thing work? How do we get access to the money? How do we write a proposal? Because hiring a grant writer is a luxury service. Not everyone is at the place in their business where they should hire a grant writer, or where they can, just financially. But when you can say, here's the tools where you can also do this and take advantage of it, win some grants, and then you can take on a grant writer or a virtual assistant who can do the process for you. Now we've help them empower themselves. And that's the mission anyways. The mission isn't to make millions of dollars and keep people stuck. It's to empower other people so we can help the backbone of the United States grow and become stronger.
Okay, now I'm just trying to think as a consumer. And like I said, I've learned so much just from your social media. And I actually have about a book about that thick, just notes that I've written down watching your videos, learning this stuff, because I don't know what I don't know, and you know what I don't know. So I'm going to learn as much as I can. But I'm sure a lot of people have said to you, I wouldn't need a grant if I had money. So and I think it's kind of like the system is kind of skewed, because people, like even banks, they only want to give you credit when you don't need it. Like me, I got almost an 850 credit score. When I had 500 credit score, I needed credit. Now I don't need it. Now you want to give me credit. So when somebody comes, you say, Stormi, I don't have any money to write a grant, or else I wouldn't need a grant. What is your comeback to that?
Well, grants are free to apply to. So you shouldn't be utilizing your own money to start your business. Now, of course, there's so many cases where we have to, right? But grants can get you startup capital. Even there's grants to like register a business, grants to do a website. There's grants to, hire your first employee. You should be utilizing these opportunities because the goal is to raise money to build a successful, profitable business. And you will always be stuck at certain points in your business if you're not getting infusions of capital. That's just simply put, because you're going to be using your revenue to reinvest. And that's only so much growth can happen there. If you're getting grants, you now have this additional money that has no strings attached that you can use to grow and create a viable business. So when you tell me, oh, I don't have any money, if I had money, I wouldn't need grants. No, that's not the right mindset. You're going to always need grants, even when you do have money. You have projects and initiatives that you want to do. And the only thing probably stopping you is how much money do we need, right? That's a question I ask in my business almost every day. So because grants are free to apply to, there shouldn't be any excuse on budget or requirements because it's available.
Okay, so then, because I have friends, I've got a lot of friends, like hundreds of thousands of friends, and there's either two parties. One is, oh, the economy sucks, it's so bad, and then I got my other friends, going on cruises with us, living a good life, going on vacation, saying the economy's great. I'm doing awesome. I've never done better. Does the economy affect grants?
Absolutely, especially the grants that are given by the state and the government. How it does affect them is where they're putting their money, right? So during COVID, a lot of grants were geared towards how do we support entrepreneurs, underserved communities, business owners. Okay. So if you had a program where you could say, hey, give me $3 million and I'm going to take on 300 business owners over the course of, 2 years, infuse capital into their business and have them go through some sort of accelerator program, that was like a big to do. Also, there was tons of grants for medical businesses, transportation, supplies, all of those things were like super important at that time. So the economy shifting is always going to tell you where's the money going to reside? What type of business entities are they putting their money into? And that's what they're going to focus on, right? So an easy way that we figure that out is we look at the fiscal year budget, right? The fiscal budget of any state or the government every year will tell you how much money they're putting into certain departments: education, agriculture, medical, health, wellness. It lets us know which type of businesses are probably going to have the most grants this year.
Okay, so now, like I said, we said earlier, it's September 11th, 2024. Uh, where do you see grants going? Where do you see a lot of grants going to now? Like you said, it changes like the ebb and the flow. So where do you see a lot of money going to now? Is it tech businesses? I see a lot of it going to people that have got out of college for being a mechanic, a electrician, because that's where the money's at right now. There's a lot of money to be made on the trades. So I see a lot of money going that way. What are you seeing?
You are so correct. Tech has taken over the grant space. They want research, development, accelerator programs. They want people to learn technology in all of its facets. And also, they are supporting more people having their own trades. Of course, they want people to become technicians and become mechanics and become electricians because it's so needed. And grants are definitely going in that area for sure. There's been so many grants as well. I think with Kamala running for president right now for minority women, there has been so many grant opportunities that have opened up specifically for minority women to grow their businesses as well and to support them. So those are the trends that I'm seeing currently in this arena.
And I'm also seeing, because I am a disabled veteran, I see so many grants out there for disabled veterans that are starting their companies, because it can be expensive. Like for me, I knew that for certain legal reasons, I had to start a corporation. So it can be kind of expensive, to go through some of these legal place, these legal entities to get set up right, and not just, oh, I started an LLC and I opened a bank account. You're like, that does nothing. So, how important is it that for these grants to help with things like that, where actually you're able to hire an accountant, you're able to hire a lawyer, or you're able to hire these people, because those are the people that are going to keep you out of trouble, possibly keep you out of jail. So I think you might want to use some of that grant money for these people. So what are your thoughts on it?
Absolutely. So most of the budgets that we write, 50% is for the workforce development. How do we keep staff on payroll? What are the vital components that are needed in order to have, those legal and accounting and that day-to-day operational support through the business? Because that's where you're going to see the real growth, is in the data and the numbers. And I think that if you're using it towards creating full-time livable wage salaries within your business, you become a lot more attractive to grantors, because not only are you helping your business grow, but you're also serving the local economy by providing jobs and opportunities as well. And so that's a big piece of what they'll be looking for. And I think it's super important that on every grant you have some component for staff, if it's allowed.
So then how does somebody um, get into your ecosystem? If somebody's like, wait a minute, I have a little money, I want to get this started, but I want to get somebody that knows the real deal. Like for me, I'm a podcast coach. I can teach people how to become profitable and popular and all that stuff. But I can't teach you how to fix something as a mechanic, because I know nothing about cars. So if somebody wants to get into your ecosystem, how does that work?
Yeah, we're super prevalent on socials. Like you said, Richard, you said you have a whole little mini booklet. We have a
Yes, I
lot of
do.
education there for sure, just for starters to get their feet wet and kind of see, just to see what's out there, how it works. Once you're ready to kind of move forward and have that conversation of how do we support you, I would definitely say to reach out via email. That's our best way of communication. That's info@pinkprint.net. And you can reach us there, Monday through Friday through working hours.
Okay, so then how do we find you now? When I was searching for you, I found a couple different Stormies. And I think I found a bad one because I kept getting emails about Bitcoin and Forex. And I'm like, that's not her. So where are the official places we can find you?
Yeah, we are officially on Stormy Banks _. So it's Stormy with an I, Banks _1_. And that's via Instagram, via TikTok, and via Facebook and LinkedIn. So those are the official accounts. We also have our company TikTok and Instagram, which is Pink Print Firm only. And yes, you do have to be mindful, because these Bitcoiners and miners, they are definitely creating pages of us, of our company, using our content to, swindle people into these, whatever they're doing.
So once again, I was going to offer, if anybody's looking to start a podcast, like I'm going on my 6th vacation next month. I'm going to be in the Bahamas when this whole election thing goes. I'll be drinking virgin pina coladas on the beach. But I'm only able to do that because I have a podcast, and I can do it anywhere in the world as long as I have a phone and as long as I have an internet connection. And if you guys are interested in having a business where you're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and making money while you're sleeping. I made money on my cruise. I was on a cruise for 8 days with no internet. And I came back and I had a pile of money in my account. So guys, if you're looking to do something like that to get into the podcasting world, just let me know. So Stormi, I just want to say thank you that we finally hooked this up. Thank you, Sam Rivera, for putting us together. And I'm truly humbled and grateful that we finally got to hang out.
Absolutely. This has been a pleasure, and I'm so glad to serve your community. And if they are looking to start podcasts, we can definitely help them with grants for that as well. So that could be some kind of partnership there for us.
I would love it. And guys, as you know, like I said, today's September 11th. It's very, very emotional for me. But something that, like my T-shirt says, today I decide. You know, even Joel Osteen says that every day we wake up, we can choose to be a victim or a victor. And if you listen to this show, you're a victor of your present and your future. You're no longer a victim of your past. So I just want to thank you guys for always showing up. Stormi, have an amazing week. I can't wait to partner up together and see what we can do. I didn't really think about the whole help getting grants for fellow podcasters. I think we definitely need to hook that up.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Well, have a great week. And guys, remember, vertical momentum. The only way to go is up. I love you guys. Have an amazing week. Stormi, have a great week.